The 1v1 interview series is a production of the Boss Rush network of podcasts. Visit bossrush.net to listen to our podcast and read our articles, game reviews, and more. You can also follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Network to stay up to date with our content. Thank you for listening. Hello everyone, and welcome to 1v1 with the Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, Celeste Roberts. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Aewch, A-E-W-C-H, not O-U-C-H, like the reaction whenever you hurt yourself. And he is the creator and the host of the Aewch Cast, and most recently a writer for the Boss Rush Network. Also a contributor to Read Only magazine. I don't want to forget that. That's probably where his biggest claim to fame is, I would say.
It's kind of getting there. I've been doing like internet projects for the longest time, like on, off, quit, restart. So, but Read Only magazine, probably the biggest. I'm not sure. So what would you say is your history with creativity? I mean, like, we just went all over the place. We're just jumping right in. Probably after high school and college, when you have like all of a sudden you do have some free time now where you don't just have to be nose to the grindstone studying tests, all that kind of things. After that, something about either being creative, being noticed, being an entertainer, something kind of jumped on me from them. One of my biggest inspirational quotes, which I don't go crazy with, came from the Blue Man Group's Twitter. Figure that one out. But it was a quote of, I'm already wrong, so great. More editing for you. It was from, they had a PBS special, that's what it was from, about their like Vegas show and like their creativity. And one of the quotes that I have just kept with me was, "You can make up for an extreme lack of talent by making people laugh." And for some reason, I just think being humorous, creative, weird, whatever you want to call it, goes so far. It's like kind of like inside jokes with friends. Do you know what I mean? Making fun, really old oddball references, things like that. All of that stuff kind of has a little bit of staying power. So that's been one of the biggest things, just trying to be funny, trying to entertain in this weird world now is kind of what I usually go for my writing, my style, my humor, things like that.
I love that. I found out about you because of Kyle Von Kubik, who's the founder of Read Only magazine, lovingly known as ROM, R-O-M. Mm-hmm. And you write a roast in each issue. Yes. And they are so fun. They are my favorite part of the magazines.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to speak to them, kind of, if people have not read the magazine or are kind of wondering what exactly do you mean by a roast?
The roast concept is basically kind of like making fun of your friends the entire time. Younger viewers will probably go closer to something like the Comedy Central roasts and things like that. The material is there. It doesn't quite capture the same spirit. Hannibal Buress does not know Justin Bieber personally. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite work. I go further back to the Dean Martin celebrity roasts. This is late 60s, early 70s. It's a really weird era of Hollywood where you have guys like Milton Berle, Don Rickles, George Burns, all those like old Hollywood things, like guys, like they were around for like 50 years even after they were famous for some reason. These shows were online, and they're funny for two things. A, Dean Martin is the host, and he is trashed in every episode. Like, his face is a color of red you would find on a Dr. Seuss character. Like, it's just him shambling up to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we're next entertainer going over to like just barely making it through the cue cards. And then 2, because it was late 60s and early 70s, if you were bad, they did not care. They cut you out of the show. There is an episode where they roast Evel Knievel in like 72, 73, something like that. And they introduced Bootsy Collins, I think the singer. He comes up onto the stage. Hi, I'm Bootsy Collins. Cut to crowd shot. Cut back. Evel, I love you. Cut out all of his jokes, his entire set. It just, he comes on. Hi, love you, Evel. Goes to commercial. It's just like, they cut him out and they didn't care. It's just like, no, there is nothing here. Get rid of it. Cut it.
Oh
it's so weird to see that they just cut out his entire bit. And I just think that's hilarious.
Oh, they don't mess around.
No. Well, when you got like Milton Berle and Don Rickles going, you believe this guy? Really? It's like, you're not gonna lose or cut to commercial when Bootsy Collins is wasting 10 minutes of our time being unfunny, I guess. I don't know what happened. I just love that story.
Wow. I feel like, I think you still have to have thick skin today, but from what you're describing and from just my general knowledge, it sounds like you probably had to have even thicker skin back then.
Oh, yeah, because, again, if the younger viewers don't know who Don Rickles is, it's like, he was just an insult comedian the entire time. So he would get called up to the dais, and it's like it's just like a gallery. It's just like joke for you, joke about you, joke about you, joke about you. And of course, it's the late 60s, early 70s, so he would get in a lot of trouble, especially to today's day and age. If you have to think about that, because, again, it's a theory of, we're not getting this one guy, we're getting everyone. Still doesn't quite clean up the language or certain phrases. Wink, wink. So
now, Don Rickles, I want to say he voiced Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story movies, right?
Yes, correct. And when I rewatched that beginning scene where all the toys come to life, when he goes, "What you looking at, you hockey puck?" And then it was just like click, click, click. That's Don Rickles. Oh my goodness. That makes so much sense now. Because when you're a kid, he just goes, "What are you looking at, hockey puck?" And it looks over and it's a toy hockey puck. It's like, okay. You're an adult, you realize that's Don Rickles. That's what he said. Of course, it makes so much sense now. So
all those little gems in children's movies.
Maybe just Pixar, because they do go above and beyond with like Easter eggs and stories and things like that. So that's part of it.
So what kind of topics do you roast in Read Only Magazine?
Usually I will go with a character. Read Only Magazine is usually quarterly, 4 times a year, and usually there's a theme to it. So I will try to think of whoever matches that theme the most. You know what I mean? Because again, when you think of the last issue was Speed. So when you think of Speed in video games, who else is it going to be but Sonic? So I usually do with that. I think I've been told the Sonic roast is probably one of the best roasts I have ever written, according to KVK. So
I was reading it. I would read articles while eating breakfast before going to work, and I will say the Sonic roast set me up for the day in a good way. They're very enjoyable, and that's creative too. And listeners, if you are interested in reading Read Only Magazine, I highly recommend visiting oneradtea.com. You can order a digital copy, you can order physical copies. We don't see any money from it, by the way. It's purely voluntary, labor of love.
Truly a project out of love and passion for the hobby of video gaming. So
yes, and I say we because I've contributed some articles as well. So that's actually how I met Aewch, is through Read Only Magazine.
I think I have been in every issue it's like me and maybe Peter Graphic. We're the only ones who have been in every issue so far, because I even think Kyle had to take a break for one at least. So
Wow. Okay, you got to keep that train going. You
I'm
got to.
trying. I'm trying. If I can stay in a good mood half the time, I usually do.
So the next one coming out, the theme is weird, and after that is shoot at the time of this recording.
Yes.
Hmm.
Weird. I had trouble because I don't think there's a roast. I didn't get time or couldn't think of anything. Because when you think weird, you then think of multiple games where you don't necessarily have the material as like a Sonic or a Ganondorf or things like that. So that one, I think I did write an article on probably one of the weirdest games I have ever played, which I will hint, hint. It's from Rick and Morty creators, so that should be more than enough. Uh,
Oh.
if you have read or kept up with it, you might know which one it is. It's for VR. That's another hint. And then shoot, coming up will be the roast who probably deserves it the most with the roast of Duke Nukem.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, I got a summer to write that one, and it's just like, oh, here we go. And it's just like, no limits, no censorship. Do whatever you can because this guy deserves it. So,
So what kind of writing do you do for the Boss Rush Network?
for the Boss Rush, I've been doing a lot of reviews and a lot of their daily Boss Rush banters, which are nice because you just got to come up with a little topic to come for, especially gaming. When you have like realms and realms, worlds of topics that you can go over, you can go macrocosm, microcosm. You can stay in a game universe. You can do an entire genre. You can do an industry. You can kind of go anywhere. And I like to talk about like fun little things in games. One of the ones I wrote was, what is your favorite location from the Fallout series? Because Fallout, again, you get the basic idea of like, okay, you are in Washington, D.C. that's been bombed by nuclear bombs. You're in Boston. You are in Las Vegas. And I always would think that, is that just fun? You're in the writer's room for those games, and all of a sudden you just like, we got to come up with some stuff. What would be like the fun 2077 nuclear wasteland version of like some fun stuff? So like, I love the amusement park of Nuka World from Fallout 4, like solely because I've been strangely getting into like YouTube videos about history of theme parks and rides and stuff like that. I don't know why, but that is just fascinating. It's like when you just go, here, this is our house. This was our kitchen. It is now our bedroom. We kept some Easter eggs of what it was, because that's basically every Disney ride. If there was a ride that was there before it, there's at least a little wink and a nod to that history. Because that's the one thing. Disneyland, not that big. It's like they're kind of stuck where they're at. So if they want a new ride, something's got to go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, yeah, I think Disney World, or is it Disneyland, that changed Tower of Terror to the Marvel ride recently?
That is the Disney California Adventure is now the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Guardians of the Okay, okay. Do you
Not,
have a I'm sorry, go ahead.
people think that's like blasphemy. They're getting rid of the Tower of Terror, and it's just like, nobody would even know the show that's from. Like, I'm sorry, but no, we'll be generous, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid is even going to know who Robert Sterling is, It's just like, picture, if you will, a tower of danger through the entire time. Mommy, who is this guy? We don't know who this guy is. What's this ride about? Where's Hannah Montana?
They gotta keep up. I mean, it's business. I get it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sad because I love that ride. I love the ambiance. My dad's a big fan of Twilight Zone, and it was so cool to ride that with him. But I understand from a business standpoint, you have to stay relevant.
Yeah, I mean, they have a whole Marvel land now in a California Adventure. Did you? I don't know. You probably didn't see it if you're not in like the theme park circle. in Marvel Land. It's called something. I don't know. I'm calling it Marvel Land because it's Marvel. Okay. They have, as a show, when you're walking around, they have an animatronic Spider-Man where it'll swing him from building to building. It'll do the flips and do the jumps and things like that. One day, it messed up and it hit a building. And it just like, I mean, you can see it stuck there in the swing pose, flips through, crashes through some buildings. And it's just like, oh, don't ever change, robot. Don't ever change.
Was anybody hurt? Do you know?
I don't think. It's usually high enough so that it got caught on camera so everyone could see it. But it just like goes through, hits the side of the building, drags down. One of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. So.
Oh my gosh, I have not heard of that. Oh, I'm gonna have to. It's on YouTube because I'm gonna have to look.
Check YouTube, check Twitter. It had to be a news story just because their $10,000 robot smashed into a building or something. You never know. So.
Oh, that sounds like on the cheap side, $10,000.
Maybe.
Discount Spider-Man.
Exactly. It's just like, okay, Imagineering. Here's the idea. We need a robot that can just swing from building to building. And it's just like, that sounds like it's going to cost a lot. And it's in the air trying to swing. How cheap can we get away with this? We better aim low on this one.
OSHA, who? That's what I'm thinking. That's all the things that could go wrong. Oh. But, okay, you have brought up an obvious question that I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
What is your favorite theme park that you've ever been to?
Ooh, that's kind of cheating because I haven't been to a theme park. Like the closest one we have where I'm at is Kennywood out in Pittsburgh. It's fine. It's a little old-timey. Nothing's super, super updated. It's fine. It does have quite possibly the weirdest like walkthrough ride attraction called Noah's Ark. Do you know what this one is?
Is this the religious ride?
No, not really. It's called Noah's Ark. There is nothing to do with Noah because I think all those robots are broken down. But it's basically, it is on a complete rocking ship. So you're kind of going back and forth through these hallways while a ship is actively rocking. Let me see here. There's that scene where it looks like you have to step on platforms, but it's all just solid plastic. So you kind of see people jumping, trying to get past because it looks like there's like gold and skeletons underneath. The end of the ride has this fake like water pipe explosion show where like all the water starts getting flooded into the area and things like that. It makes no sense. There is no story. It is just like, we have 3 ideas that don't work together and we're allowed to have one spot. Throw them in there. Call it the melting pot. Who cares? So.
Wow. I have not heard of that theme park. Usually whenever I think of theme parks in Pennsylvania, I think of Hershey. I haven't been to that one. That's just the one I know of.
I think I've been there, but might have been as a kid a long time ago. But again, it's just like, it has the factory tour. It has the name your own bag. That's it. What else are you going to do? It's chocolate. We ain't here for thrills.
I really like, okay, I've been to Disney World twice in my life, and I've been to Disneyland once, and I really like them. But you kind of need a little staycation after you go to places like that to relax.
I mean, they are the biggest, they are the most popular theme parks. Let me rephrase that, in the world. So people from all over come to these theme parks. And the weird thing is, like, things like Disneyland in California, locals go there, like, not every day, but maybe every week or every month. Like, that's just like, because it's in the middle of Anaheim or like a big like community. So people are just like, hey, you want to go to Disneyland? It's just like, yeah, we ain't doing nothing else. So you always have this idea that people are going to be there no matter what, which is just like, oh, every ride has a 45-minute wait time. Was this worth the $200 tickets? I don't know. You tell me, wife.
Oh my God. My family, when in 2011, when I was living with my parents and my sisters, we went to Universal Studios in Florida. And yeah, I think the tickets were about $200 something a person. It was not cheap. And that it was the Harry Potter ride that had just come out.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you been there before?
And not ever been there, but I want to guess Escape to Gringotts, where it has that big dragon on the top that breathes fire.
It was kind
Or-
of a motion ride where
Okay.
you're sitting, a motion simulator. You're sitting in a chair, and
I know which one you're talking
okay,
about. I can't think of a name, but I know which one you're talking about.
I think
So
it's the big Harry Potter ride. But I think it was an hour long wait, and it was cool. But you get 5 minutes or less or fewer of this experience for an
yeah, that's
hour long
yeah. I
wait.
mean, it doesn't get most rides are honestly in between 3 minutes to 5 minutes if they have a real story or cinematic to them. But I mean, for 45 minutes or even longer, like as cool as Star Wars Rise of the Resistance in Disneyland is, there are videos online. I can just watch it there. Because that's the thing. It's just like you can't even they do like virtual queues for that kind of stuff, and you got to be there when the park opens up. You got to have the app ready, and you got to be clicking the entire time. It's just like I can find this on YouTube. I'll get the idea. It's just not. It's cool. It's just not worth it.
So if you had a week off, what would you do? Would you go somewhere? Would you like to stay home?
I have become a homebody for most part, just because I have been working retail through a pandemic for the past 2 years. So
Oh,
I'm
that's rough.
I'm I'm kind of done with people. As much as I want to be an entertainer and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's like, no, we're done here, curtain. So I'm very much home. That's kind of where like my podcast came from. The idea is that like, we're stuck at home. The only thing we really have is entertainment, whether it be, Netflix and chill, Hulu, any Disney Plus, whatever you have. But my thing was that we go through all this entertainment, like the term is binge watching, right? It's not like we absorb or describe or really think about what we're actually watching. It's just like, ha ha, Michael Scott's funny, next episode. It's just like this stuff is bouncing off of our skull. And it's just like, well, was that a good episode? Why was it a good episode? What did you like? What did you not like? So kind of like where I came from for the podcast was like, movie reviews, game reviews, blog posts, things like that. Is just trying to come up with to really reflect on your entertainment, especially with like the movie reviews and things like that. Because if you're a collector with either games, movies, you probably have bookshelves that have a surprising lack of books on them. So like I've been looking through my movies, some kind of stand up against the test of time, some are ready to be traded. So it's just kind of going through what's worth keeping, what's worth getting rid of, like, and recording the thoughts down so you go, okay, this is probably how it's going to stand for the rest of the time. So
Wow. So what kind of topics do you cover on the Ouch podcast? I've listened to some of your episodes, and it kind of runs the gamut.
yeah, it became kind of like the catch-all for like my hobby of doing that. I do What You've Been Playing, which is like the video game review show. That's pretty obvious. What You've Been Watching, same with movie reviews. If I was smart, I should have got into movies, not video games, because movies are hour and a half. You write down your thoughts, you're done. Video games, 40-hour adventures, tons of mini quests, min max your levels. It's like I don't have the time for this anymore. So, I did a Twitter poll. It's like, hey, what do you guys want to hear? And more like personal questions, which is kind of where like the Aewch Cast blog episodes or the Q and Ouch, where I basically have one of these 3001 questions all about me that like housewives buy at Barnes and Noble when they're bored. So it's like I bought it. So it's like, okay, flip through, answer some random questions. Maybe I have something, maybe I don't. So that's kind of where that one came from. And then the only other one is I try some in character stuff with like either the sports talk with Fight Talk with Tony C, which is a lot of UFC fighting sport kind of stuff to talk about, things of that nature. So I got a handful of things, amazingly enough.
So the episodes I've listened to, it's just you, but am I missing anywhere you have a guest?
As it turns out, my voice changer does most of it, which one of the things I am proud to say, I was talking to a buddy of mine at work and he was like, what about that other guy, Tony C? He's like, dude, that's me doing a character. I put on a voice changer. I was so proud that I had fooled someone with my stupid voice changer. So
that's awesome. And I want to say you've been on the Hot Blooded Challenger Club podcast before.
Not hot-blooded. I was on a few episodes of the podcast prior, We Talk Games. So I've not been on the Hot-Blooded Challenger Club. Hint, hint, Kyle Von Kubik.
He better be listening to this.
You know what? I will give him credit, too, because in his interview for 1v1, he put me over and gave me credit for the roast. So it's just like, that's the nicest thing some of the people has ever said about my stuff.
I would love to interview more of the people involved with all of that. I wish I had more time in the day. I wish I could interview somebody every single day or like every few hours each day, because there are so many interesting people out there. And I think everybody has a story, personally. That's me. That's my outlook.
I think when people, that was one of my other things, like especially during the pandemic with shut down, everyone stay home, things like that. The only choice you had was to be introspective. And some people like that. Most people probably didn't like that. To be honest, whether it is their story or not, that when you're stuck going through your life choices and you have to think, oh, that was me. That's my fault. Nobody wants to hear that. And so you got this idea where all the problems in my life, oh yeah, that's on me. And people don't like hearing that. So it is just one of those oddball things. So
no, I do have to say something positive that came out of the pandemic is Thanksgiving that year. It was
Really?
Thanksgiving that year, because my boyfriend and I stayed at our house and it was just the two of us. And I love our families, but we didn't have to go from house to house to house. We just took our time cooking, watching old Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Right.
Slowing down.
I think for the past 2 Thanksgivings, someone at my house had COVID, and then someone at my siblings' house might have had COVID. So I think we've been stuck. Everyone's fine. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's fine. But I think we had to deal with COVID around the same time each year. So.
Oh my goodness. Now, you were in an episode I was listening to yesterday.
Yes.
You were talking about Easter and Thanksgiving type foods and how you get tired of eating them after so many days.
Certain weird things. It's just like, I just want to go, have we eaten potatoes like 4 times this week? What is going on? So it's like, it's leftovers are good once in a while, but I really don't eat side dishes. I just want my main course. I will be done. It's just one of those oddball things, because then you're stuck with, oh, hey, how long have these been in here? Too long, gone.
Have you or have any of your older relatives ever done the thing where they take an old country crock or butter container and they put the leftovers in that?
Yeah, I think we have finally adopted just so many clear Tupperware containers, one of each size, one for every occasion. So we just have containers in the basement, in the kitchen, all over the place. So if we need something stored, we got something. We got something somewhere.
Now, is it like an avalanche whenever you open the cabinet, or are they nice and neatly organized?
To prevent that, you do it on the bottom cupboard. That's why that's how you don't get you don't become the infomercial. That's how you stop that. You just put it lower. I don't know why they don't do that in the commercials, but
I think it's laziness.
I mean that, and they got a product to sell. I don't blame them for that. So
okay, so since you brought up food, if you had to pick the perfect meal, what would you eat?
We have a chain restaurant here that does this great chicken parm, or excuse me, not chicken parm chicken, where it's chicken, it's grilled, and then they have this Parmesan cheese. I think it's also a sour cream sauce or mixture, where they do it over the top with, I think, some breadcrumbs on the top. I don't know why, but the taste of that sauce, it's Parmesan chicken, melted cheese on top, giant chicken breast. You don't get 1, you get 2, and it's plump more than anything. It's 2 of those, and I am just I am happy. Let's go.
That sounds delicious.
It really is. It's Longhorn Parmesan chicken. You got to try it out.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make a special trip up north. Well, to me, you're north.
Yes, very much so. Very much.
But that's awesome. So I have to ask, I didn't ask this yet. What's the inspiration behind your name?
The name. I had graduated high school, and which was about 2006 going into 2007, which is where a lot of internet stuff was starting to pop up. YouTube especially. You can do a history lesson on that, I'm sure, but I think YouTube and other things were starting to pop up. And a group of friends of mine had done like a sketch group in high school, and it was just like, for some reason I thought, I'm kind of creative, I'll do it. But I didn't want like the stupid internet name where like, whatever embarrassing AOL Instant Messenger name you had, it's like you just can't keep going with that. So I wanted to create like a name, not just, cool sounding nicknames or anything like that. So my initials are AEW, and my friend at high school would joke, "Aewch." Like that was the sound it would make. It's not really a word, but it would just be "Aewch." So I'm just thinking, okay, "Aewch." What's like a word that goes with that? "Aewch, Aewch, ouch." So it just became that natural integration. Aewch sounds like a name, and it's a word that we kind of know and have heard of. So basically, it's probably since 2007, 2008, I've been going by Aewch. And every now and again, when I appear in like Twitch streamers chat or something, everyone just goes, "How do you say that?" And I'm just like, it's ouch. You say it like you're ouch as in pain. That's usually what I say.
See, I thought it was maybe like a self-deprecating name, like "My life is pain, ouch."
Go to the Twitter, you'll see those posts all over the place.
No,
Trust me.
no. I just thought it was so funny, so nihilistic.
Give me the wrong morning, I'll take you there. Trust me. So.
So what are some of your favorite hobbies besides podcasting and playing video games?
Besides those two, I have been an avid kickboxing martial artist for about 10 years now. Like I've been a black belt for 3 years for martial arts, and specifically Muay Thai and kickboxing, striking in general. So that has been the biggest the other thing I can hang my hat on. I have a college degree, I have a black belt. That's like probably the two proudest things I have to my name. So between those two.
That's awesome. So, okay, tell me about kickboxing. It's something I personally would like to try, but I don't even know where to begin because I'm not coordinated.
Understood. Like I come from a zero sports background. Like I was never a sports guy in high school because they made fun of me, and I've held it against them ever since. But coming from a nothing, depending on the gym you go to, the martial arts place, whatever, they will pretty much guide you step by step. It's starting with your stance, where your hands go, the mechanics of body movement, getting everything to go into the same place. It is basically just building up those pathways in your brain to tell your body, okay, punch, kick, things like that, into either a combo or what you can recognize as like a drill set or anything like that. So as a beginner, it's going to feel awkward because it is. Your body literally doesn't know what you're doing for the time being. So it just kind of builds from that. Once you get the idea and like the terminology down, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, leg kick, and then each gym has their own different moves, things like that, learning that terminology. It is then just putting it together and repping it out. It's very much like the 10,000 rule. You have to do something for 10,000 hours to get really good at it. I like to use the quote from Bruce Lee: "I do not fear the man that has practiced 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Like that is the main thing, because that one kick, it's gonna hurt like hell. So that's the one you have to look out for.
So do you feel like Chung-Li whenever you are at kickboxing?
I mean, my thighs might be a little bit smaller. So
but that is awesome. So what inspired you to even get started to set foot into the gym?
I had graduated college. Again, now I have this wealth of free time aside from work. And I was just like, all I do is kind of play games and work. that's not the healthiest thing. And, I can only talk to so many people about video games. So it's just like, and like lifting weights just sucks. It's boring. It's heavy. It's hard. It's like there's no reason to do it. So I gotta guess, during the time Facebook ads were like, gym classes in Ohio or something like that. So I just went for that. So, and then I found out, kickboxing is even more obscure than video games, amazingly enough. So, but again, just the luck of the internet and Google search. So that's kind of how I got started with that.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to try? Like, is there a different type of martial arts you'd like to get into?
Depends. My body is falling apart. My knees will click clack. My knuckles hurt. It's just like I've already accustomed to this. But like the only thing is like in terms of striking, this is not, there's ground game, there's different stand-ups. Muay Thai from Thailand, it is unbeatable. It is, I can kick you in, it is the art of 8 limbs. Fist, elbow, knee, leg kick. Like that covers everything. Like you can stop any kind of attack, anything for self-defense, especially for women, especially when it comes to the clinch where they're holding each other by the head, by the hands, where then you can just come in with an elbow and, as we like to say, unzip their face with an elbow coming across. So it is. Oh, elbows are horrifying because this going fast across a face, it's not an impact thing. It is just a scrape going through, and it'll just be immediate stitches because I have seen that happen in the gym. It was sparring, and one of our coaches was going against one of our ladies, and he held the glove for it, but she just kind of went past it, went right for it, and immediately just cut him open right here. I think it was like 5 or 6 stitches. And like as coach, like you're kind of proud, even though you did it completely in an unsafe way.
Oh my gosh, that's very inspiring, though. I love hearing people pick up different physical activities like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is. Along with the physical aspect, you also have to work because you never want to. This is fight talk. I don't know who's interested in this, but in terms of fighting, you cannot pre-program a combo. You cannot go, okay, I'm going to do a jab, cross, hook, leg kick, back into a leg kick. That's hard to do. It's just, there's too much going on. So you have to train your brain so much that that's automatic. It is just, okay, go in, bop, 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 and then just right into it. So it is just practice. It is drilling it out, and it is just repetition. So it is a thing where it feels awkward because I kind of help out with it. I see a lot of beginners just do punch, stop, take a minute, think what's coming next. Other punch, stop, think. It's like, get rid of those pauses. Just go in. Your body will help you out. You will know what to do. Just kind of work through that. So it is a learning curve, but it is an important one to learn for sure. One of the things our coach said was human beings should know how to walk and run, crawl, swim, climb. He adds fight to that one, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So
I took a rad course about a year or 2 ago, and I'd like to take some more, and I'd like to do some kickboxing because I hope I never have to use it. Let me put it that way. I hope I never have to be in a situation where I have to put what I learned into practice, because I don't want to say it's easy, but it's when you're in the class and have someone guiding you and telling you what to do, oh, bam, bam. But I hope I'm never in a parking lot or somewhere that
it's like, not to be doom and gloom, but it's crazy world out there, depending on where you're at. So sometimes it's a good idea to be ready. So
if there are any ladies and or gentlemen, I just know this was offered to women, but if you can go and take a rad course with your local police department or sheriff's department, that's who I took it with. Highly recommend it. You'll feel like a badass. But yes, I hope we never, you as well, Aewch, I hope we never have to be put into a situation where we have to use that outside of the class.
I don't leave my house, so I don't worry about it too much.
Don't leave your house. So what are some other projects or pursuits that you have going on? Do you have anything else? I mean, you're busy. You're busy enough.
Yeah, enough working full time, the usual stuff, throw that out. But like the weird thing is the goal keeps changing. Like I just see so many honestly opportunities when you think about it in between YouTube videos, Twitch streaming, podcasting. I've done blog writing for myself, things like that. There are these so many outlets and I want to do them all, but I can't. So it is the thing where I kind of look, and you have to look at like your strengths at what you can do. You know, Twitch is, still there. YouTube, again, part of it is just doing it, all things considered. So there is the thing of just getting into it, getting your feet wet into things like that, trying out different things, using your strengths to amplify it. Again, I've been told I'm a good writer. I'm still trying to process that. Like even, my parents, Kyle, the editors, things like that. They all say it's like, wow, you do a really good job. And I'm just like, I didn't go to college for this. Are you sure? I'm not quite no, but like people say I'm a good writer. So it's just using that to its best capability into a project that makes it applicable. You know what I mean?
I know you said you are tired of people, but would you consider doing stand-up locally? You could write some jokes. You could.
I have thought about that. It's, we're Ohio, where corn outnumbers people. So it's hard to figure out, either find, like, I don't know, open mics. And then I'm kind of like in that weird place, like in between like the city and the country, where there's at least buildings that are made within the past couple decades. It's just like, it's hard to find, especially where I'm at. And, in between driving, which is just now another nightmare altogether. So it's possible, but again, kind of with, the rise of the internet, you can be funny online, especially. Like, stand-up comedy is fine, except you always see those videos of like hecklers, and then people are like taking care of it, and they always have that different stuff. That's like, I'm so like, despite the fact I'm doing a YouTube interview, I'm really shy. So it would just be like, security, can we get rid of that guy, please?
Oh,
Hey, like I'm not that smart or fast or witty. So it's not just like, hey, you not nice person. It's just like, so, but that's the thing. It's like, you could, again, being funny, trumps can do a lot of things and take over for a lot, which has been my goal for the most part.
Well, why don't you consider doing a YouTube stand-up, just some little shorts each week or something? Try that out.
I mean, it's in the realm. It's just trying to find space. Although I have a green screen, so that works out half the time anyway. So it's possible. I've always had, ideas. It's just transferring from here onto something. So it's always in the realm.
What kind of topics do you think you would cover? If I said, okay, Aewch, tomorrow I have you for a stand-up routine and you have 5 minutes, what do you think your topics would be, right off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, how weird Disney movies are. Because like each of them just have their own little strange thing. Like The Little Mermaid. This is my favorite joke. I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't care. It's like a girl asked, what's your favorite Disney movie? And I was like, The Little Mermaid. Because when you're 4 and you see a clamshell bra, that just sticks with you. I mean, yeah. talk about C cups. It's like, it's just one of those things. That reaction is about all I ever get from women. I love that joke, and then I love the, oh my God, this idiot just made a C cups joke. That is exactly why I tell that joke.
I don't know if she's a C cup. I think she's more of an A or B cup, to be honest.
It's animation. You could probably look up a picture where she has C cups. Who cares?
There's Rule 34 on the internet. Yes. Okay. So I think we're about the same age. I'm 33.
I'm 34. So yes, just about.
So just about the same age. Did you have a copy of The Little Mermaid on VHS when you were growing up?
Yes, that is where I saw it the most. So.
Do you know where I'm going with the packaging of the VHS
yeah, I know what you're talking about for sure. I mean, there was the scene with the priest who was about to marry Ursula and Prince Eric, right? Do you know that part?
Supposedly that's just his knee.
Because they cut to another shot, like, but then the thing is, why is he not wearing pants? Why is the priest not wearing pants? He's wearing shorts because something comes out, wink, wink. But like, it cuts to another scene where he has like the big priest robe,
The
whatever.
cassock or something like that.
Something. I'm not a religious person. I have no idea. But it just like it shows him, and he's just wearing like summer khakis or something. And it's just like, well, that just doesn't make sense. So
Oh gosh, are you a fan of the Golden Girls?
I may have seen a few
Oh,
episodes as a kid. I have not seen anything
there's a
nowadays.
an episode where Blanche says, "I didn't know you priests could take your clothes off." Like that they get to dress like normal, like non-religious
Right,
folks. So that's what
right,
I was thinking of when you said the khaki pants, the khaki
right,
shorts.
right. So
But for those who don't know what we're talking about, look up Little Mermaid VHS tape cover. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's a little Freudian.
a little bit more than Freudian. So,
Oh gosh.
and
When I
that was
was a
the one
kid.
that was the one weird scene I never understood. Like Ariel, like Prince Eric and Ariel start dating somehow, despite the fact she can't talk. Like, and then do you think the people in town started talking about that? Like, hey, where did Prince Eric go? Oh, he took that mute girl that no one knows out into the swamp on a little dinghy. It's like, oh, the Prince Eric special. There it is.
Oh my God. Okay. I hadn't even thought about that. As a kid, I just accepted, okay, it's Prince Eric and Princess Ariel, but you are making a very good point that he's
He
a high
takes
profile figure
he
in
takes
this
the
town.
mute girl no one knows into a swamp, and then all the fish start singing "Kiss the Girl," and it's just like, all these fish are telling me to kiss you. Are you cool with that? That seems kind of weird. And it's just like, that was just the weirdest damn scene. So
I'm a big fan of fairy tales, and I'm a big fan of how Disney has Disneyfied certain fairy tales. Are you familiar with the real ending of The Little Mermaid?
doesn't she just get tortured for not finding the love or something along that line?
Um, okay, I could be mixing it up a little bit, but she she sees him. He's married. He ends up getting
Mhm.
married to someone else, and I think the sea witch says, "Well, if you kill him, if you get some of his blood, I'll return you
Mm,
back to being a mermaid." But she's about to go do it, and she decides she can't. She loves him too much, so she throws herself into the water and becomes foam, and she effervesces into
okay.
atmosphere.
Oh, okay. So that's why there's so much sea foam, just mermaids killing themselves. Oh,
It's a little
okay.
depressing, but I love Grimm's story tales,
There's
fairy tales.
there's a little bit of dark humor along things like that that I appreciate, I guess. Again, I take a lot to be offended, but every now and again. So, because when you don't care, you're bulletproof, honestly. So,
That is true. I love dark humor. So you mentioned earlier some classic stand-up comedians. Do you have any favorite modern stand-up comedians?
um, for me, I was in that mid 2000s era of like Comedy Central Presents and things like that. To me, Mitch Hedberg was just had such a style to him where it was great non sequitur like riffs along things, and it was one of those things where it was just so off the wall and like noticeable because everyone was like, oh yeah, have you seen this thing going on? It was like real bad, like topical, and Mitch Hedberg was just like doing this really observational kind of stuff where it was like, I wish I could play Little League now, I'd kick some ass. So it'd be like jokes like that, like those really stuck just because like they were bite-sized, they were funny, and they were memorable. Like the only Mitch Hedberg joke I think I ever wrote in that style was like, our town used to have gas stations. Now we have parking lots with obstacles. Like that's about the only one. That's about the only one I've ever had. And then, amazingly enough, talking about like that old golden age of Hollywood, like George Carlin basically reinvented himself like 3 times in an entire career. Like he started in the 50s and 60s as like, a very, clean cut suit and tie comedian, things like that. Then, started hanging out with Lenny Bruce, who was, funny enough, but also had a whole lot of like legal issues and troubles for his things. Hung out with him, got some real ideas where he then became like the goofier stand-up comedian where he had, the 7 words you can't say on television.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also then transformed that into like the angry observational comedian where he was like all in the all black
Yes.
things and stuff like that, which I think people know about him the most from. And like all of those things, like it's amazing his career had these like really noticeable chapters or checkpoints to his style and his comedy with it.
I love him. I got into him way too late, but his specials, I love his Not in My Backyard, about how everybody wants jails, but they don't want them in their backyard.
Right. I think the most memorable one was when we were kids. I think it was You Are All Diseased, where he was in New York. And he just pretty much starts with, how's everybody doing? Huh? Well, you. And just like, we were 5 or 6, and it's like, can we stay up and watch? So it's like, well, we'll see. Well, you. And it's just like, nope, we're done. Put right to bed after that one. That was the thing I was thinking the other day. It's like, you now have all these comedians doing podcasts. So in terms of like their history, it's now, their ideas, their thoughts, their ideologies, things like that. They're now on, taped, revealing my age. They're on tape now, and everything's digital. Carlin doesn't necessarily have that. He has the stand-up comedian, but that is exaggerated, elongated, put into a bit, things like that. He has a few interviews here and there, but like if George Carlin had a podcast, like how interesting would that have been?
I'm picturing his podcast. I see it more serious, to be honest with you. I see him actually maybe joking here and there. Don't quote me. This is just what I'm envisioning, like him actually giving very thoughtful responses to questions and saying what is causing him so much dismay with the world. What do you think?
Very much so. When you can find his interviews, I think Jon Stewart did an interview with him. He has a few different ones. He is very thoughtful, very articulate, much like his stand-up, because he had his bits down word by word almost. He had a very set plan for that. So yeah, a lot of his interviews, for the handful that are out there somewhere, they are like that for sure. So it would be very it would be very thoughtful for sure, I think. Mm-hmm. So much so that, some people would say, look at this guy, he's on our side, and look at this guy, he's not for them. And it's just like, no, he really is. He is who he is. So
it's kind of like South Park. He'll offend everybody.
Yeah. Although South Park didn't really have an identity for like 3 seasons. It was literally just fart jokes and aliens for like the first 3 seasons. Like until like season 4, and maybe even after the movie or something. And then it really started, okay, this is our viewpoint and this is how we see things. So
is that besides The Simpsons, is that the longest running animated series?
It might be the Flintstones, because The Simpsons had to beat the Flintstones to get that record. South Park is on 25 seasons. The Simpsons is on 30. They're probably getting close, but I know the standard for seasons was different whenever the Flintstones was being done. So I think those are at least top 3. I gotta guess.
I think SpongeBob's not as close, but I think it's been going on for a while too.
It is infinitely more memeable for sure.
Oh, what, the newer episodes?
Any episode of SpongeBob.
Oh, any episode.
Yeah, because like there are these so many weird moments where they take a clip out and then they do their own caption, and it's still SpongeBob. It's just like, how you feel as an adult, Squidward. So it kind of has a little bit of both. So
is there anything that you've been watching? Speaking of TV shows, are there any movies that you've recently watched that you'd like to talk about, or TV shows? or any books that you've read lately?
One of my biggest influences has been Mystery Science Theater 3000, and then to an extent, like the next project, Riff Tracks, which is the guy Michael J. Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy. They're still riffing movies. They still riff bad movies. I think the movie that I truly hate. Now, there are bad movies. There are good movies. There are ridiculous movies. This is just a movie I hate the fact that it exists. It is called Roller Gator. It is about 1996 in the middle of like that weird, cool dude, radical man, all that kind of stuff. The movie looks like it was shot on like a VHS home cassette recorder. It looks so bad. It looks like it is filmed at like a county fair the entire time, but they didn't get permits to do it. So it's always just this weird, like shaky, kind of out of the way. It has the most annoying alligator puppet you've ever seen, because it basically has one of those voices. Hey kids, crime is cool, or whatever it says. It's that through the whole movie. The soundtrack is nothing but this noodly guitar riff, just like ching ching ping pa ting pa ting ching ping ping. It goes through the entire movie. It does not stop. You cannot hear the dialogue over it. Also because they didn't really record that good of a dialogue. And for some reason, they somehow got Joe Estevez to star as like the carnival owner for some reason. The movie got made. Someone took the time to make Roller Gator. And here I am wondering, should I start a YouTube channel or maybe should I do a Twitch? Somebody made Roller Gator. And I'm just sitting here. That's infuriating to me.
Oh my God. Okay, why don't you make Roller Gator 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Roller Gator 2, High Tide, and it's just an alligator. Yeah!
God, I've never heard of that. Let me look it up. I'm curious if
that is the nice thing. Like Riff Tracks does the most obscure stuff where you just go, that's the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. And I've seen Cool as Ice.
Cool as Ice? Okay.
Cool as... You want to talk about that one too while you're looking up Roller Gator?
Yeah, Roller Gator...
Do you know Cool as Ice?
No, I know Cool Runnings, but I don't know.
Okay, different. Cool as Ice was supposed to be the launching pad for Vanilla Ice into acting after his singing career. Because...
No, it wasn't. No.
Yes, it was. Because as Mike Nelson put when that title opens up, Cool as Ice, because 15 million of you bastards bought To the Extreme, his launch album. And again, he plays Johnny, which is just Vanilla Ice as a character. And it's like he gets stuck in this town. He is inadvertently the creepiest main character you've ever seen, because he kind of starts falling for like a high school senior. They don't say her age, but honestly, she's still in high school. There's a scene where like they go to this place called the Sugar Shack, which is supposed to be like the club in town for teenagers or whatever. They have this horrible band that's like playing like the worst version of Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. And it's just like plank, plank, plank. And it's all white people for some reason trying to play a funk song. And then like there's a character who goes, hey, the band sounds pretty good tonight. No, they don't, you idiot. This is the worst band. So then, of course, Vanilla Ice comes in and starts rapping. And this is like a town. It's in 1990, but the town acts like it's from 1950. So it's like, what is he doing? What is this rap music you call for? So he starts rapping and like starts like fake dry humping her on the floor of the lead character. There's a scene where he breaks into her room while she's sleeping and drips a melting ice cube into her mouth. And it's just like, that's horrifying, Vanilla Ice. Are you sure you're the hero in this? Oh, it's needless to say, that career did not go on like he thought it would after that movie.
Ooh,
yeah, gosh. That one. That's the hero. That's who you're supposed to cheer for in that movie.
Well, why don't you make a YouTube channel where you review these kinds of movies?
I mean, there's, that's probably the next big thing. I mean, that's what a lot of my podcasts are. If you go to anchor.fm/ouch, that is how you plug. I have been doing internet for too long. When you can just list your plugs like without practice. You know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna start doing that in real life situations. Alex, do you know you're in trouble? Yes, but if you go to my Twitter following, Twitter/just Aewch, and it's just like, no, that's not gonna work. I'm afraid you're suspended. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, how can people who are listening support you?
Support, head over again. Check out the podcast. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch.tv, all of them. Just Aewch, capital JUST, capital AEWCH, and search the Aewch Cast. It's on Spotify. You can find it on anchor.fm/Aewch. It's all out there. So give it a listen. Let me know what you think on any of those sites. And maybe I'll get restarted on one of these things one of these days. So that is the most I ask for.
That would be awesome. Are there any closing thoughts you'd like to share with people, or anything else you'd like to talk about?
We started with the Blue Man Group for inspiration. We can end with the Blue Man Group inspiration. How in the world can anyone be bored when you have the internet and trampolines?
Trampolines. Oh my God. Okay, but you have to have special insurance for your house if you haven't.
Or just for you. Last time I was on a trampoline, if you bounce wrong, your back finds a new position it didn't know it had. So sometimes you got to be careful.
I just know when we bought our house, it was like, oh, do y'all have a trampoline? Do you have a dog? Yep, we're just we don't have a trampoline or a dog, but yeah, murder weapons apparently.
It's like,
so.
Well, here you go, trampoline and a dog. All yours.
A dog on a trampoline.
Dog on a trampoline.
Aewch, thank you so much for taking time for us to get to know you. I really enjoy your roast, and I'm enjoying your podcast. And I want you to pursue more, because I know you have a lot of fire and a lot of passion. And I see your tweets where you're like, should I do this? Should I do that? And I think Kyle would agree with me if he's listening to this, which he better be. You got to do it. Go for it.
Yeah, that's one of the things, like, I consider Markiplier is slowly reaching into like my hero kind of status. I have like Walt Disney as a hero. I had someone else I completely forgot, but he's getting up there, and he literally just says, start doing it. Is it going to be bad? Yeah. Start doing it. You will learn from each thing. You will get better from each thing. So literally it's just start doing it. And I'm just lazy. That's all that problem is. So, but I'll try. I swear to God, I try. So.
Oh, what is the saying? If Beyonce has 24 hours, so do you, or you and Beyonce both have 24 hours, whatever it is. But she also has a crew to help her with everything. So.
She also has a baby that has the world record for like youngest singer.
What?
Like it was either her or Jay-Z who put their daughter, who I think was 2 at the time, in just like one opening little thing, her making noises, and she got credited as an artist on that song. Something like that.
I'm going to have a nice talk with my parents about why they didn't put a microphone in front of me when I was 2 or 1.
You know what? I could have a lot of conversations about that. So.
Well, thank you so much, Aewch. Again, please follow him. Please read his articles in Read Only Magazine. They're very funny.
Give me praise, nothing but praise.
And you can also find more 1v1 interviews in Boss Rush's other podcasts at bossrush.net. And you can follow me, Celeste, at Fairy Crypt on Twitter. I also have an Instagram, but it's private because I've been getting a lot of crypto bros trying to follow me and people who want me to join the Illuminati. So if you want to follow me on there, I highly suggest you send me a message saying, hey, Celeste, I'm not a crypto bro. That's been happening a lot lately.
Yeah. Some of us have all the luck. That's all I'll say.
But all right. Again, Aewch, thank you so much. And everyone, until next time, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.